Hey everyone, welcome back to Build Your Own Redis like server course. In this video, we'll be covering TTL, increment, and decrement commands. Let's get started. Let's start by restructuring the files and folders over here by creating source folder and also test folder. So .test goes to test, then code.js logger server utils all goes to source. Okay, now again inside source, let's create utils. Okay, what we can do, we can rename this to index. Yes, then again utils move. Yes, and logger.js also to yes. So it's asking for updating whether to update the imports or not. So I think this looks better, right? And package.json, let's update over here also. Source.server.js and test.server.test.js. Okay, let's start. There could be some issues. Nope, all looks good, perfect. Server.ts also should be fine. But let's what we'll do, I will restructure the folders and all that, like the creating files in the moving the files into proper structure. Now we'll just try to close the loop by we'll just try to check whether everything is working fine. Npm test. Okay, all tests passed, looks good. Okay, now we'll start by adding test cases like for all the three commands TTL, increment and decrement. Then we'll actually write the code. So it's like a proper TTL, right? So we'll begin with having a code for TTL. So this is it. Let me just see if I can minify all. Okay, so should return correct TTL for a key and cover error cases also. So TTL is like time to live, right? So let's say if you are expiring some key, right, expire foo exp for 1 second, so after that it will be done. So let's say if I set some set expiration for a key which is like 10 seconds, so during this 10 seconds, let's say at fifth second, if you do TTL for that key, you will get as 5 seconds, like the remaining time for that key to expire. That's it. Okay, so should return correct TTL for a key and error cases. So in order to do that, so what we'll do, we'll first set a key, right? So set foo capital T and the value is exp capital T. Then expire. So what will after setting a key, I'm expiring for 5 seconds, right? So I'm just setting okay, telling to Redis stating that expire this key foo T after 5 seconds, right? So immediately what I'm doing, I'm just technically waiting for 2 seconds, right? After 2 seconds again set timeout. So once it's done, I'm just querying it as ttl footy, so it should give 3 seconds or 2 seconds, right? Because set timeout is exactly not exactly as like 2 seconds, and also there will be a milliseconds difference here and there. So if you see here, the small query, what I'm doing is I'm just using get ttl footy, okay, and based on the simple regular expression for the response, right, I'm just extracting the value and I'm just checking TTL value because this is purely on the string pattern, right? So what I'm doing, once I get the response, I'll basically add a log and show you that also once we close the loop. So in a match, we're extracting the number, passing it because that would be in string, and I'm just checking whether that is like less than or equals to 3, because there is a case sometimes it can be 2 or it can be 3 also. So less than or equals to 3, and I'm marking that as a, so this is like a assert okay is like, this is like a boolean. If it is false, then it will throw this error, right? If it is all okay, then it's like nothing to highlight or something like that. Okay, so then in the error response also, so just to cover the other case, like I'm just passing the TTL command, but I'm not giving any sort of key for it, right? To which TTL, like for which key it should check for the TTL, right? Okay, perfect. Now let's add code to it for the TTL logic. Okay, code.js. And as for the command handlers, right, if you see, we don't need to change anything over here because this thing works exactly because the command, right, it will like look for the command handlers, and if it is not there, we actually pass for the generic unknown command. So we just need to add an extra function inside this command handlers. That's it. We don't need to change anything apart from that, right? So let's add this one, ttl, same signature actually, args, um, and as usual we'll begin by validating the args length. Okay, so if you see, observe, like whenever I change, the server is automatically starting. So earlier there was an issue, right? And if I just save it, it just starts. Okay, it's all with the watch. Now what we will do, we will having some logic. I'm just adding that code over here. That simple logic is I'm extracting the key, simple. And if the key is not present in the store, then there's no point in actually checking, because there are like three checks, right? First the key should be there, then the key should be in an expired state, then only you can tell, okay, how long after how much time this specific key will be expired, right? So first validation whether key is actually there. If it is not there, we are returning it as -2. Okay, this is like a standard as per the Redis protocol and the response structure. And for the expiration times, I'm just first checking whether it's part of the expiration times or not, right? If it is not there, then there is no point, because we can't extract how long after that the key would be expired. So I'm just setting it as -1 as like invalid key as part of the TTL, right? Now if you see, the next logic is simple. So first I'm getting the expiration times dot key, that will be in the timestamp, like the Unix timestamp. So date dot now, then doing that by 1000, then I'll get the actual difference. So what I'm doing in seconds, right, in milliseconds overall. So I'm getting the difference, right, and I'm doing by 1000, and that will get in seconds. So how long, in how many seconds basically. So what I'm checking again is, if you are already queried, like if you are trying to look at the already expired key, right, the expiration is like 10 o'clock, but you are looking at 10:05 or something, then the TTL value would be, of course, minus, right? So what I'm doing, if the TTL is greater than 0, then just give the value, that's it. Okay, so colon that specific number, right? If that is not the case, we are just returning with the same thingy, which is indirectly store key won't be there, but you got the crux, right? So that's how it is. I'll just walk through on the code again. Two validations: one, the key should be definitely there as part of the in the store, right? We are checking that. Then the second level of check is that key also should be part of the expiration times object. If it is not there, -1. So if it is there, then I'm just checking the current timestamp, like the expiration timestamp value with the current timestamp, that I'll get in the unique timestamp format. Then I'm just converting that to seconds, that TTL. So TTL can be minus if the key is already expired, right? So that will be in minus. So if it is not the case, if TTL is greater than 0, just return the TTL value in seconds. Otherwise, just the same response as if the key is not there, that will be again, it's the same thing, right? So that's it. So the code is there ready. Now let's run the test cases. Okay, there you go. Should return correct TTL for a key and error cases. Now to understand the pattern on how the response would be for the TTL, let's just add the console.log get response. I mean, it's clear on the code.js stating that, okay, this is the pattern, right? Colon so and slash r slash n. But let's just try to run it over here again. Npm test. Okay, test pass 6. So this is how the pattern is, and next line also slash r slash n. So the simple regular expression will extract the number from this pattern. That pattern is like colon the actual number slash r slash n also. So starting with colon and ending with slash r slash n, and also in between colon and slash r slash n, whatever the number it will extract. And as it's a string, I'm just passing it, and after passing I'm just checking whether it's like less than or equals to 3. Clear? Okay, let's move on to increment test case. Alright, so should increment a key and some error cases also. So first I'm setting a key foo I with value 5. Okay, now I'm calling increment foo I. response and the value should be 6. Okay, then again I'm just checking with the get foo, the same command, just to see okay what is the value. So 6. Okay, then increment as a response to without any key. This is for an error case and I will get this error. Okay, then again set foo invalid I as a key, tada 1 as a value. Okay, now when I'm trying to increment, okay, so this will set properly, right? Now when I'm trying to increment, this is not a valid number to increment, right? It's just basically a string, so it will give us the response stating that value is not an integer or out of range. Simple. Okay, this is exactly again same as referencing to the Redis response way. Okay, so now let's complete the increment code. So we'll start with the increment, the same structure, and also regular validation, argument length, wrong number of arguments for increment. Like if we are not getting, if you are not passing any um, valid key here, so we are trying to fulfill this specific test case. Okay, assertion basically. All right. Now heading on, I'll just add these blocks. If you can see, key again extracting from the args, and we are first checking if the key is not there. If it is not there, so in general what's happening is increment also can create the key, like if it's not there, so and it will return it as 1 because the value we are setting it as 1, so for the very first initialization. So without any key we can add, we can basically set and initialize with 1 with increment command. Yeah, so that's all on this one. Then the other cases is, I'll just complete the last blocks which are like validating if it is already there in the store. So this thing is, if it's not there, then we'll initialize with the value 1 and return that as a response. If it is there, we'll actually parse the value which is already there in the store, like store.key of dot value, and with the base as 10 we'll get the value, right? So if the value is not there, or if the type is not string, or sorry, if the type is not integer, any of the data type, then we'll get is not a number. And if that is the case, we are just returning with this one. And we do have like value is not an integer or out of range, we have that test case as well, this one as a last test case. Okay, if the value is like, if the value which is there, it is parsable to int, right, then I'm just incrementing that and again setting as string only. Okay, dot value. Then this is to maintain consistency, but down the line if you want to really improve, then we can just treat that as a number 1. But the problem is to maintain it as consistent and like ease flow of the whole thing, I think it's better to follow this pattern, like increment then assign the value as string only, so that it's always as a string, right, as a generic way. Okay, then I'm just passing that as a same thing over here. That's it. So the incremented value, I can just use this one, but up to you, should not be a problem. It's one operation, so if you want to really save that extra math operation, you can just do this one, and it's again a lookup inside a key, so up to you. Clear? So let's run the test cases again. This time around the test cases should pass. Perfect. So increment is also done. Now let's add test cases for decrement. Okay, set foo d and the value is 11. Okay, now I'm decrementing and the expected value should be 10. Okay, then again I'm just using the same get command to assert the same value whether it's coming or not. Then response to if you see decrement without any argument, then I should expect wrong number of arguments for decrement command. Okay, then set foo invalidate tada2. Here if you see, this is like a string. When I'm trying to decrement, I'll get this error, value is not an integer or out of range. Clear? Let's save this one and let's complete the actual code. DECR args. It will be almost similar. So let me just add the arguments validation, self-explanatory. Then the same thing, like if the key is already not there, then setting that to -1. So assume that okay, there is a value as a 0 if the key is not there, right? So when you are calling increment, the response will be 1. If you call the decrement, so initial value assuming it as 0, then if you decrement, then it will be -1. So even if the key is not there, same as increment, for the decrement, if the key is not there, we'll return that as a -1, assuming it as 0, so -1. That's it. Okay, then let's complete the loop for the actual code. Oops, decrement. That's it. Okay, so was saved. I mean, it's the same. Like if you see, once the value we are getting passing not integer, return the error. If it is the case, return value -1. That's it. So let's run the npm test. Now the decrement also should be working fine. Clear? Understood? Now, as a small extra thingy, I don't know why I didn't cover, but that's a valid case. Is I'm just trying. I'll just do this one. Maybe the posture scenario. Let's do this one. Okay. Oh, sorry. Increment thingy. This one. Oops. Another recession to complete the case where the key is not there, but we should get value as 1, right? So response 2. Oh, it's already there. Oops. So response 3. Maybe we'll just reorder this one and keep it at the very end over here. Okay. Okay. So I will give something which is not there. So set foo increment. Sorry, increment foo something like this. New key. Okay, and the value should be 1. Okay, let's copy response 3 over here. Let's copy the same block, have it here. This should be DECR for new key 2. Let's this as 1. Okay, for new key 2, and this should be -1. That's it. Okay, let's just reset the server. Now let's run the test cases, and it should work for this decrement and decrement also. Okay, test 8 all passed. This assertion is also correct. So for the decrement, if the new key it's not there, it will be -1, and for the increment, for the new key, it will be +1. That's all for this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like the content, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment down. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.